Welcome to the Create a Life You Love podcast, the go-to podcast for people who are called to make a positive impact through the power of coaching. You'll hear encouraging stories from coaches sharing their journeys and their lessons learned along the way, tips from top experts who help coaches thrive in their life and their business, and so much more. So if you're ready to create a business and a life of impact that you love, let's get started. Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Create a Life You Love podcast. Welcome to 2023. It's going to be an amazing year. And right now, myself and Gwen are taking a brief break to reflect, regroup, and rejuvenate. So we thought it would be an amazing opportunity to turn this great oldie but goodie into a replay. So think back to November 2022. So a couple months ago, back on episode 105, we were delighted to have Jackie Cote as a podcast guest for the second time. She was originally a guest back in April of 2020 on episode 14. She has just shown such amazing growth personally as well as in her coaching business. So we thought it would be amazing to re-release this episode so we can kind of see it almost back to back and think back to what was happening in the world. April 2020, everything was pretty much shut down, and her and I were both trying to find ways to bring joy and hope and inspiration to the world via online stages. So grab your favorite warm beverage and cozy up as you reflect on her growth as well as your own. And be sure, if you haven't yet, we still have the free reflection guide available. So go to the show notes for that, and it will walk you through a process that Gwen and I created that takes my knowledge of neuroscience and her knowledge of human design, and we combined it together to make a really amazing holistic reflection process and planning process for 2023. So if you haven't grabbed your copy yet, be sure to do so and enjoy this episode. So I am so excited to be here tonight with our guest, Jackie. Coach Jackie is a visionary life coach who helps people who feel stuck, overwhelmed, and or lost, and helps them get out of their head and into action so that they can have the life that they desire. Hey, Jackie, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I was like all ready to tell my spiel, and I was like, she's doing it so well. I don't have to do it. Just, how are you to talk for me? No, I'm doing awesome.
So I'm based in Kansas, and you are in Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I love connecting with people from all over because I like to hear kind of what's going on in your area of the world, like with COVID and stuff. Are you guys locked down or schools in session? What's the deal?
I think we're pretty similar. Our governor said June 10th, and then there's all these things and going around going, no, entertainment's opening on the 24th, which isn't true. And then it's just, you know, how the news gets and how social media gets, it just gets, but everybody's homebound. And the governor said June 10th for us. I'm not sure if that's changed recently. I have been on the news in the last day or so. I personally tend to not watch it because I know I'll get enough and just streams of people talking and things telling me. So
Absolutely. Kind of what we've been sharing is be informed for your own health and safety, but you can get the news from scientists like your State Department of Health, your CDC, places like that. They don't care how many Twitter followers they have, so they're not trying to ramp up their ratings. That's not their intent. Their intent is to inform you. So be
That's a really good point.
Yeah, awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you're using this opportunity to thrive, not just hang on and barely survive.
Excellent. Yeah, so a little bit about me. Okay, so it started when I was 2. And then no, I'm just kidding. I'm from Jersey originally, and now I live down in like the Lake Anna, Virginia area. And my coaching business started about a year and a half ago. I started into that. I've always been a coach naturally by heart in my trade previous in the restaurant business of leadership and management. But about a year and a half ago, this light kind of crossed my path, and it showed me that I could get out of what I had done for 30 years and move into a business of my own, doing what I love, and that's coaching, mentoring, and helping people see things that they can't see, and give them that gift of belief to help them get to a place where they just didn't think they could get. And like Chantel said, was get out of your head and into the action, because this head thing here is 80% of what we've got to work on to be able to do what we need to do. 20% is the strategic stuff. the stuff that's like, Instagram and Facebook and how do I do this and how do I do that, 80% is between our two ears. And that's what I help people get out of the way with that. This time didn't change much with me. The biggest change for me was I had this goal, and we set our goals in January, right? And my goal was to have 2 speaking events live every month, and I had them. I had them all in the books. They were live. They were ranging from 30 people to 100 people. I was just pumped. And then boom, everything that, obviously got canceled. And so pivoting in that and not going towards that fear, doubt, and disappointment side, and really embracing that love and joy direction of going towards pleasure, those are the only 2 ways we move. And so I helped move myself into, okay, let's create a webinar. Let's get on Facebook every day with a short tip of the day, and just dove into showing up more and being seen more. And then reaching out to these people and going, can we turn this into a webinar? Can we turn this into an online event? And so some of those are being created now and being set up. But and I think all of us the first couple of weeks was like, what are we doing? And then we started having happy hour, Facebook Zoom, and we were having Facebook Lives and Zooms, and we were doing connecting. But here's the funny part, and I'm going to ask you if you experienced this, Chantel. Friends of mine and I, college friends, we haven't gotten together in ages, are connecting now more. It's funny, we always looked at each other why haven't we done this before?
Right. Yeah, none of this technology is brand new. It's been around for a bit, and but we are accessing it in different ways. So yeah, my college roommate and a mutual friend, the 3 of us were really close in college, and and we're all in education, and so we've been kind of reaching out and being like, our school's canceled for the rest of the year. What are you guys using? What do you do?
Yeah.
Total side note. So I knew you moved to a lake, and I knew you were in Virginia. We used to go there every weekend, Lake Anna. That's where I learned how to water ski. That's where I have so many fun summer memories. Yeah, we were stationed in the DC area for my 10th, 11th grade year. And so we had a boat, and we took it on the Potomac a couple times, and then my dad heard about Lake Anna, and we're like, nope, we're doing it. And so there's been a couple times we rented houses, or we went camping, or we just go and do a really long day at the lake, and it's about 2-hour drive.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because I never really took advantage of Lake Anna. I heard about it from a lot of people, and now I can walk to it. I'm not on it, but I can walk to it about half a mile to one area of it, and a mile to the other area of it. And it's great, and the community is all golf cart community, so the people ride the little golf carts around, and we all meet down at the little beach on the lake, so it's cool. It's
awesome.
much how do I say, calmer, than Northern Virginia. And I know Davina knows Northern Virginia well, and I know you lived in Northern Virginia. It's a much more calm, peaceful area than the hustle and bustle of go up in Northern Virginia. So
absolutely. That was just funny when you said Lake Anna. I was like, whoa, blast from the past.
You learn a lot in every call you have with someone. And we've worked together for a while. So.
I know. Yeah. I remember you talking about, oh, we're packing up, oh, we're moving, oh, we're having internet issues because it's more rural. I never once was like, oh, where'd you move? I was just like, it's in Virginia on a lake. What do I know?
That's awesome. You've gone on this lake more than I have, actually. Then
probably spent lots of time at Lake Anna. That's awesome. All right, so let's get us back on topic. So what tips would you have for others that are wanting to use this time to thrive?
So one of the it's funny that you asked that question, because some of the focuses that you was talking about in the beginning was really about the reducing the stress and the anxiety and tips. I did a top 10 tip webinar that I can drop a link into the Facebook when we post it for everybody if they're interested in seeing that, because I'll be repeating that. But now a couple of things that I've heard from clients and networking events that I've been on and connecting with people. One is scheduling and having a schedule to go by, because we went from this, everybody went from this really structured, I've got to wake up, I've got to get the kids to school, then I got to go to work, and then I've got to do whatever at home, and then I got to pick up those kids, and I got to bring them to soccer, and it was very regimented and very scheduled, right? And then we went to, I relate this to the sheltered child who goes off to college and is free for the first time. We all became free college students. We're yay, it's a free for all. We have all the time in the world. And I'm hearing like people are like, I sleep in too much, and I want to get up earlier, and I want to like, but I'm sleeping in, and then we're not eating on a regular schedule, and we're eating all the time, or too late, or whatever. And that's adding more stress. Like realizing like all this freedom without some structure can be as stressful as all the structure. So now the biggest tip that I've been working on with people is, how do you go from like this side of the spectrum, you're over here on complete structure, to complete freedom, kind of, right? And then how do you get that like happy medium without going back to this? Because this is what stressed you out so much previous to COVID, that tight, restrictive, like go, go, go. I'm shoving food in my mouth while I'm driving to work and on my commute, and I'm like stressing out and I've got indigestion, whatever it is over here, to I'm sleeping in, I'm eating whatever I want to eat, I'm going and like doing whatever. It's just it's a funny dynamic, and people are like, what do I do? Like I need structure, and that's okay because you don't want to like deny this freedom, but you do need some kind of structure. So we're doing a lot of schedules and forming a schedule. But here's what's cool about your schedule in this time frame is it's by design. And we've always wanted to have a life by design, right? Create a life you love, right, Chantel?
Heck
And
yeah.
it's like, and we have that opportunity now to, so I throw a question back to my clients and go, what do you want it to look like? What do you want to get accomplished? Well, I still want to be productive in my business. I still want to have my kids learning. I still want, like, if you have kids, and I still want to move, and I still like my gym's closed. But I still want to move, and I still want to eat well. Well, okay, then what does that look like? Like some people have to structure like a schedule in eating to remind themselves to either eat or to go do something besides eat, one or the other. So scheduling is a big tip recently. Does that relate? Can you relate to that?
Absolutely. And you know me, I'm over here taking notes because you always have so much great information to share. I'm like, oh, I get to talk to Jackie for an hour. um, so I'm
Ditto,
scribbling
back at you, bro.
down. I'm scribbling down the wonderful tips that you're sharing. And yeah, that totally aligns with the things that I've been sharing with my community and the communities that I'm plugged in, that everybody is um, definitely sharing. There was the day or two, and I kind of relate it as an educator to, those first couple days of summer break. You're like, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
get to sleep in. Oh, I don't have to get dressed. Did I shower? I'm not telling. You worry about you. um, but then if me personally, with my history with struggling with depression and anxiety, if I do that for more than about 2 days, I start down a slippery slope. So I know it's like I've had lots of mini practices for COVID leading up all my little summer breaks. I'm like, I know
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that. I cannot do that. Um, so I have to get up, take a walk, shower, get dressed. We're talking hair's done, makeup's done, jewelry on. I show up to work. And the beautiful thing is my work still starts at 8:30 a.m., but I've cut out a 30-minute commute.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that is really nice. So it's like I did gain an extra 30 minutes, so I can sleep in a little bit. It's not as rushed. But yes, that is key, I think, is still how do you want to show up? And so I'm looking in the chat here, and Davina says, hi, Jackie. And then scheduling works for me too, but it's also flexible. And then,
Mm-hmm.
yes, Jackie, you saw it. You said, yes, the happy medium. Um, I am hearing a lot of chatter now. There was like a big swing. First, there's the initial swing of what's happening, the sky is falling, and all that. Once the dust started settling, and it's like, okay, this is just our new normal for a period of time. Then there was the slump. I'm going to do nothing. But then it was, okay, I'm going to thrive and I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to write a book and I'm going to, but not everybody was there at the same level. So then you saw on the social media the like kind of backlash, like Gwyneth Paltrow said, write a book. I just brushed, breadcrumbs off my bra. I don't think it's going to happen today, or potato chip crumbs or something. Um, so I was kind of seeing this thing. And so, and I have groups of friends too that are like, I'm unemployed. Like I'm in crisis mode. Like, I don't know how you're doing these podcasts, and I see you walk by my house and I see you do this and I see you do that. They're like, I can't even understand. And I'm like, that's okay. You have to allow yourself grace because your journey is not my journey. And I could easily compare myself to 80,000 people thriving way better than me, but that's
Mm-hmm.
not it. So kind of what's your take on that? The whole, my post today said, stop shoulding all over yourself with all the shoulds.
Yeah, we used to use that in our 10-week course. Stop shitting on yourself. Yeah, no, completely. And that goes back to what's between our two ears, and something that we all have a story that we tell ourselves, and everybody has a story that we tell ourselves in our thoughts every moment of every day. And that story is based on the experiences of our past, or what we've experienced like from now back, and all the things that have happened, good, bad, evil, whatever, right? But the cool part about life is you have the opportunity that when those thoughts come up, is Kitty there? Yeah. And when thoughts come up, I miss Kitty. When thoughts come up, like you have this opportunity at that point to like rewrite your story in every moment of your day. But the key to it is when we have them, a lot of us do this, God, why do I think that? I'm so stupid. Da, 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 da. Like, and you go down this like roller coaster path of bad self-talk, like negative self-talk, of beating yourself up, like for having the thoughts that what they're trying to do is protect you. They're trying to protect you from whatever it is that is known in your brain, because the brain can only work on the known, and it only knows from this moment back. It has no clue what the future holds for you right now, right? But we can decide to create a future that becomes the known to the brain. And then the brain can focus on that future and can take actions based on the known from that point moving forward. So that's why like all these vision boards and the visualizations and all the things that like the woo woo that I used to consider, right? But now I like live by it. But the things that I used to be like, oh, whatever, like if I can't see it, I can't touch it, I don't believe it. But you can create the scenarios in your brain and put new like chips in your brain, basically program new chips in your brain for it to work off of. So what do you want life to look like, feel like, be like right now, and 2 weeks from now, and 4 weeks from now? And I know there's some things we can't control. That's a given. But what you can control is between here and here. And so that's what I've been working on with anyone who's been in that, like you said, like I've got that, like, okay, so what can you control right now? And that's here and here. And you have the option, you have two choices really. You can choose to go down that fear, doubt, scarcity, and everything, or you can choose some other direction. These are the times that people create new businesses, people create new avenues, new things to like dive into, to new ways of thinking. But that's your choice. And I hate to like make it so simplified in the sense of it's just a choice, because I hate it when people say it's just a choice, you know. But it's true, and but let me backtrack a second, because there's a piece to that I loved when I figured this out. And Mel Robbins, and a lot of people know who Mel Robbins is, right? 5-second rule, take control of your life. She talks about a bodily reaction, like your visceral reaction that your body has, that's going to have before the thoughts and the anxiety and the stress and the depression like all kick in. And what is it that's triggering? So once you know what's triggering the bodily reaction, once you know the bodily reaction, the thoughts and the behaviors that kick up from that, you actually can break them before they start to happen by understanding, okay, I get a tightness in my chest when I'm feeling this anxiety and stress because I'm thinking about the lack of money because there is no work and there's this and and then I go into, and then everything else gets messed up. Okay, well, here's the reaction. I have a bill hit my account and I'm close to nothing. You know, okay, what can I do? Like, can I ask for help? Can I reach out for, you know, what avenues do I have? What other can I apply to do this or go do that? You know, what options do I have and what opportunities can I look for? But that bodily reaction, you can change the thoughts to a different direction, whatever it is. Some things are a lot more extreme and it's a little tougher in that moment to go, I can go make $1,000, you know, I mean, that's not going to, like, it takes some work to figure out like where to go, but how to get there. But does that make sense? Like there's that trigger, the bodily reaction, then there's the actions, that the thoughts, the behaviors, the things that follow. And those are what you can readjust by understanding and being aware. It comes back to awareness. So I don't know, I kind of went on a tangent there.
No, I love it. It perfectly aligns with everything that I'm learning through my coaching certification. It's neuro coaching, and it's how to rewrite those things in your brain. And it's taking that neutral situation, then like recognizing your thought. What is the thought that neutral situation brings up? And then what is the emotion that it causes? because
Mm-hmm.
those thoughts and those emotions replayed over and over and over is what builds that neural pathway and becomes your belief. Those limiting thoughts in your head, those how you think about money, how you think about working out, how you think about eating healthy,
Mm-hmm.
everything, how you think about yourself, what
Mm-hmm.
you think your abilities are, how you think about uncontrollable situations like COVID. Just everything, those are your beliefs, and your beliefs determine your decisions, which become your actions, which give you your results. And
I
so
love it.
I've seen the brain scans of how you can build new neural networks. And it's
Mm-hmm.
through things such as affirmations. That's kind of the simplistic version of it, but that's essentially what it is rewiring those thoughts in your head. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I love it. I love everything you
Yeah.
said.
It's um, and you just said something that triggered so the question, and this is a fun, simple question to ask yourself whenever you're having the thoughts and you get to the point that you can get yourself you get yourself to the aware point that you like recognize the thoughts, and before you battle them, go, is that true?
Mm.
Is that true? And 99.9%, 100, but just let me give that little edge of 99.9% of the time, it's not true. And what is true? Like people go, everybody is in a tough situation right now, so I can't sell in my business. I can't put my business out there right now because that would be disrespectful to people. Is that true? Is everybody, and I'm not being insensitive to the situation, but is everybody not in a place to want help, to want products, to want things? And why are we making the decision for them? So I did a video on to sell or not to sell. I did a live video on Facebook and to sell or not to sell because it was a huge topic 2 weeks ago. And it was like, you don't have the right to make the decision for everybody else. You just show up. And the people who show up the most during this time frame from a place of service, being authentically themselves, are the people who are going to be remembered after this. So if you go into hiding because you are projecting your feelings of the situation on everybody else, and then you will not be there when this all comes to the end. So that was kind of like my, like, to sell or not to sell. It's like you're doing a disservice if you're not out there helping people. Like, and I'm not sitting there going, put a sale sign of like $9.99 all the time. It's not like what it is. It's what can you bring to the world to help them? How can you show up to help people with your business? It, what's the saying? It'll never feel like a day of sales if you're in a sales and business. Everybody's in a sales or business because everything's a business, right? Everything involves money. It'll never feel like a day of sales when you're coming authentically as yourself from a place of service. You'll never feel like it's a day of sales in your life.
Awesome. Bonnie, one of her jobs is as a Rodan and Fields consultant, and she says, "Oh my, that is exactly what I've been thinking, to sell or not to sell."
And you're not alone at that. Like, not alone at all. It's very commonly out there. And what helped me show up is that I know I'm coming from a place of service. I know that I'm being authentically myself. And I know that I don't have the right to decide for everybody else because they're grown adults. They'll make the decision. If they want the products, they want the products. If they don't, they don't. And even some people were struggling reaching out to their existing clients. I'm like, well, your existing clients can't leave the house. They need you to mail them stuff. How much easier is it to get your face stuff mailed to you versus having to go to the store? How much easier is it to get the clothes from someone who has a little home shop boutique sent to you than you having to go out shopping? You know, so let other people make their decisions. They're grown adults. You just show up from a place of service, authentically yourself.
I love that. And I've seen you in your group giving so much free content and value. And then I mean, you still have a thriving coaching business. So you are selling things, but then it's that balance. Like, you're showing up, you're supporting, and then people are going to build that know, like, and trust factor and be like, Jackie's amazing and she's got my back. And so then when you do offer something, they're going to be like, how could I not? Like, look at all the things that she provided for free. I know that this is going to be at least that value packed, if not 10 times more.
Right. Right. And that applies, like, and I know with coaching, it seems like maybe a little bit easier to show up in a sense of like helping the public in a free sense of like information. And, but I gotta tell you, like, even the young lady Davina who's on the line, like when she was showing up, like for when she shows up, a group shows up from a place, and she has a Lime Life is like skincare and different. By the way, thanks for my package. I got my package today. I got stuff from her. See, I got stuff from her. But like she would add value to it of like, okay, this is, I'm scrubbing my face, and like, and she'd give tips on how to wash the brushes, and she would give like, these are all things people have time to do, you know, right now. And those videos, and whether you, like those videos are stay on your timeline, and so she could always refer back to them and say, hey guys, don't, if you have this, go back to this video, you know, go back to this video. And here's the cool part about it: when you, if you go live and you, well, you're post whatever, you're creating content for yourself. And Chantel's a perfect example of someone who's creating like this library of content that she can go back to and she can use with future programs, clients, whatever. So that if you're in business, that's to sell or not to sell, I'm saying just show up. Just show up.
Absolutely. So for anybody who maybe isn't in business or that's not something that they're focused on right now, so we talked about the importance of having a schedule and a routine. And then, like, what are some ways that you would translate showing up into non-business terms?
So, what are some of the things? I guess one of the questions I would ask is, what are some of the things that you could never get to do, or you couldn't find the time when you were before COVID? Like, what was it that you were like, too tired, I can't do this, I couldn't get that, couldn't get to that? And most of the time, the answer to that question is like movement, getting outside and nature. I say time with the kids, but that's like a touchy topic. Sometimes there's too much time with the kids right now. But time with your animals, um, getting creative with food that is nutritious for your body. Like people are pulling. I baked, FYI. If I baked, that's that's I can't even tell you. I don't bake, but I baked like this um, gluten-free, sugar-free, like brownie molten little cupcakes, and they were so good. They're made with like sweet potatoes and almond butter. And I was like, that was like my point of like, okay, listen, if I'm going to attempt a new recipe and bake, which I don't bake, like you can dive into this now, but find what it is that like what's your creative outlet and start doing that. Do you paint? Do you plant? I have some two of my clients are really into their gardens right now because they don't have the commute, so they're spending the time that we do in the commute in really tending to a garden. Um, I mean, and I would ask the folks on the line, like, you know, Bonnie, Davina, Jeanette, like, what are some things that like you find yourself doing now that you weren't doing, or what would you like to do more of? Um, and then I have a question for post-COVID that I want to ask after that. And what about you, Chantel? Is there anything that like you said you're doing more of now, or that you want to do more of with the change in the schedule?
Well, I talked about doing this, exactly what we're doing now, for a year. Remember when we first met in Denver last May, that's where this idea started hatching, and it had nothing to do with COVID. It was just connecting with people from around the world and sharing tips for creating a life you love. And so this was kind of my push of, okay, I have a little extra time. Let's figure it out. And really, my time, I'd say my day job has not changed the hours. If anything, it's maybe gotten a little longer. I'm hoping that that settles soon and we get into more of a routine. But definitely my commute freed up time. And then I just always was go, go, go. I'm like, okay, tonight I'm going to this dance class. Tonight I'm meeting these friends for a happy hour. You know, I'm going to go see this movie. I'm going to go, 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 go. All that, my evenings and weekends have freed up. So what am I going to do with that time? I have several friends who are like, I can't believe you haven't watched Tiger King yet. And I'm like, I got other things I'm doing. I'm busy.
I watched one episode and I was like, yeah, there's other things I could be doing. No offense to the Tiger King lovers. No offense.
Right. No, it's on the to-do list. It's just not a priority right now.
So I love that you said that. I love that you said that because I kind of say that this is Mother Nature's way of saying everyone slow down, take a step back, and start to say yes to yourself. And that's kind of, and hearing you say that, knowing you pre-COVID, and like it's nice to hear that's like, you know what, like I'm just relaxing a little bit and I'm slowing down. But slowing down doesn't necessarily mean like I'm less productive, I'm getting less done. Because look, I mean, look how much you're accomplishing with this. You went from like, I'm going to have a couple episodes to like, oh my gosh, I have like 1,000,000 episodes with 1,000,000 people. I love it.
Yeah, I had no idea. So many people, I was like, well, reach out. I bet Jackie would be a guest. And who else could I ask? And then it was just like, whoosh. I'm like, okay, we're doing this thing. It's been a
You
lot of
ask and
fun.
you shall receive.
Absolutely. Okay, let's look in the chat here. So Bonnie says, I would like to start doing more video chats or virtual coffees to connect with others. I don't really need it to be salesy. Absolutely, Bonnie.
Mm.
And Davina says, so glad you got your box.
Oh,
I've been cooking, baking more. So what was in your
yeah.
box?
She, I almost want like Davina to come on and tell you, but like all of such a cool like lip stuff. And
Awesome.
she got me like bath bombs. And so that brings me to self care. What self care are you doing for yourself? Like that's another like, what can you add into the world that this new world that you didn't do before? Self care and self care like used to be the oh, I got to get a massage and get my nails done. Well, you can't do any of that. So what kind of creative self care within the home can you do? Are you reading books when you maybe didn't have time to? Listening to music. For me, it was like cooking more. Like cooking more has been exciting because I always made reasons why like I couldn't like I would just do little things here and there. But like now I'm like cooking. And what's okay? So funny, quick story. In the beginning of COVID, like I wasn't really stressed because a lot of my business didn't change so much, and my boyfriend's still working because he's considered essential. Um, but it was a day off we had together, and you know those day off, you used to think those days off are really rare, and we're together, so you gotta like maximize it. So I went to like make a sauce, and I had to like make a spaghetti sauce, and I'm Italian, and you make homemade spaghetti sauce, right? And I pulled out a crock pot, and I was gonna put my spaghetti sauce in a crock pot. That is against like the Italian religion. Okay, you don't make sauce in a crock pot. But I pulled the crock pot, pulled the stuff, and I started crying for no reason. I just started crying, and I was like, "Why am I crying?" And I'm like, what's going on? Because I was shortcutting my creativity and shortcutting what I loved to do to save time and be more productive and like get more done. And I just like I put the crock pot away, and I told you my mom passed away when I was younger, but she was my Italian influence. And I looked up and I was like, I won't do it ever again. And I like made my sauce, like I cooked my sauce, and I like that was my creative outlet. And so like I did a live on that day. I was like, dude, I'm like, whatever you're like dive into your creative outlet, even if it's for 5 minutes a day, dive into your creative outlet. So it's another piece of what to do different.
Awesome. Yeah. So everyone in the chat, share what your creative outlet is. And Davina said it was your self-care in a box.
Yes, it was.
And Bonnie says she's been joining more of these chats, these Thrive Not Survive chats, to help her be more comfortable with her business. So yeah,
That's
Bonnie, you've
awesome.
been showing up in a big way. You've been very consistent coming to these live. And so I really hope that they are inspiring and motivating you.
Yes, yes, you're providing a phenomenal service, Chantel. And I don't know about you, but you seem like you're really enjoying it too.
It's a
Like
lot
it's
of fun.
this is like your creative outlet. Like you get to like connect people and mentor them and coach them. And can I just say I'm super excited that that's part of your realm now. Coaching is part of your picture now.
I know. I started with the author path and met you, and we did that joint 10-week coaching program. And you're like, you got this, lean into this coaching thing. I'm like, no, I'm an author. I'm not a coach. I teach and I write, and that's it.
I was like, so I call myself a visionary life coach for a reason because like when I meet people, I get this like vision of what I feel like they like could be and I don't want to say should be, so could be doing what they're meant to be doing. And like that was like the first thing when I met you and I was like yeah, you might be an author and that's really cool, but you need to be coaching people. Like it was just whether it was group setting, one-on-one, the how didn't matter. I just knew that you have this way to impact others and make them feel like they can just do more and be more of themselves. So I'm super excited for you.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Something that lights me up too is I now have like a whole notebook just dedicated to these talks because I'm constantly taking notes because I'm learning. And so it's, this has so many benefits for, I think, everybody who tunes in, myself included.
Yeah, and I haven't been able to make as many live as I'd like, so I need to go back and watch them all. I need to go back and learn from everybody because it is a complete resource for your community. And if you haven't joined her community, you need to. Just putting that plug out there for you because she's got a bunch of them on there that she's already done with people that they can go back and watch. Right, that's on
All
the
the
community.
replays.
So there was one other thing, like when we talked about rewriting like the thoughts and rewriting the stories that we have like our old stories and we want to create our new stories. And I kind of relate this to 4 R's. The first R is talking about like you want to rediscover what it is that you want. You know, we've got to be honest with where we're at, but once you can rediscover with where you're at and where you want to go, and the stories and the thoughts, like just really coming to terms with what's hitting your head, then you can release them, and then you have the ability to rewrite your story. So, and I want to stress the release part because we have this, we're trained to stuff down what it is that like the negatives, what we perceive as negative, what we perceive as like bad thoughts of eating and bad thoughts about this and bad and like, oh, and then that's when all the negative talk I was talking about earlier come up. But you don't want to squash those down. You don't want to ignore them because they have a positive intention. Everything that happens in life has a positive intention. And once we can discover that positive intention that's underneath everything that's happening for us, then we can take that and we can embrace it, understand it, and release it. So you're not, because when you stuff it down and say negative things to it, you're basically shoving your hand face and like disrespecting your past. You're disrespecting like who you are, because that's who you are, not who you will become, where you can go, but it's who you are, and you have to honor that. There's positive to everything that's happened to us in our life. And so then when you have the ability to release it, rewrite it, then the key at the 4th R is get ready to receive it. A lot of us aren't willing to receive what's trying to come to us. I watched this YouTube video one time of this is, I think it was like a sermon style thing, but the guy was like holding a bunch of balls, and he's like, every ball represents all the challenges we hold on to in life, right? Like we're holding on to this and we're holding on to that and we're holding on to this. Like they hurt me and that job let me go, and we're carrying all these burdens. And then when like, God or your higher power, the universe wants to throw a big golden ball at you, you got no way to catch it. Because you are holding on to everything and it's bouncing off of you and it's bouncing off of you. So you just got to release that stuff so that when that golden ball is thrown at you, you can catch it.
Wow.
And that visual that guy, when he said that, I was like, I can totally picture when I'm holding on to something. I'm like, oh, I gotta let go. I gotta release so that I get ready to catch it. So it was a super cool visual. Yeah. And so I'm a visual person. That's why I'm a vision coach. But I'm a visual person. That helps me. And so rediscover, release, rewrite the story, and get ready to receive it. Because we have a lot of this going on. We want things, but we're not willing to receive it. And I think, do you remember when we worked together at first? Like I was struggling in receiving money from clients, right? Who struggles in business, in their own business, of like being afraid to have people pay them for their services, right? To sell or not to sell, right? Right? Like oh, I don't want to charge too much, or I should do this for free, and I should. And that was totally me. And then I realized, here's the aha moment. Hopefully someone can relate to this. If someone paid me for services, they were helping me. And I wasn't going to receive help because I could do this on my own. Like I'm an I got it girl. I've been doing this since I was a kid. I took care of myself since I was 14. This is my story, by the way. I like paid for everything since I was 15 years old, and I got it. I don't need no help. I was under the impression that I've done all this on my own, which is not true. Totally not true. I know that now. But when somebody would pay me, that means that I was going to receive something from them and receive help. And if they paid me, that means I could go help more people. Well, that means they were helping me, and I'm the one who's supposed to help you. So I can't take your money, because if I take your money, that means you're helping me. Money is an energetic transaction. That's all it is. That's all it is. And it doesn't define you. It doesn't show you, it's not your value, whether you charge 500 or 5,000. It doesn't change the value you present, the value that you have internally to give people. And when I finally came to that conclusion, then I was able to receive. So
Awesome. Yes. I had I don't know if anybody here is familiar with Jill and Josh Stanton of their company is called Screw the 9 to 5. They have a brilliant podcast that I highly recommend. And so I got a one-on-one coaching call with Josh the other day, and he's like, okay, map out your business model. I was like, well, and I just laid out all the things, and he's like, okay, you called it a business model. At what point are you taking money? Like everything you're doing is free, free, free. So we did map out. I mean, I have my one-on-one coaching, but he's like, how are you scaling that? If you want to screw your 9 to 5, if you want to do this full time, like what's your plan here? Because right now with one-on-one coaching, it's not feasible. So, and my one online course, the couple little things, and of course, my $10 book any day now is gonna make millions. But no, but I'm like, it's not about the money. It's about, I'm just helping people. And he's like, but how many more people could you help if you weren't doing it on the side when you had time? So it's interesting shift.
Yeah. And then I challenge you, because I challenge myself with this, by the way, is the question of like, why isn't it about the money? Like, what is it about the money that feels so dirty and wrong?
I don't know. I'm sure there's some childhood, like, I mean,
there's your journal prompt for tomorrow.
There you go. There you go. There's
Yeah.
all the stories we all tell ourselves for different things. And I'm an educator. I'm a public educator. I'm used to not getting paid jack.
Right. And that's why I chose not to go into that. I have that degree.
Right.
I was kidding. No, yeah.
Yes.
Someone asked me the other day, like, why didn't you go into teaching? Because my degree is in teaching and psychology and elementary education. And I started for like a year and a half. And there was just something that my gut said, there's something different. There's a different path for you. And there's another funny story, but there was a tenured teacher that was a really miserable woman. And I felt so bad for her because she was just not happy, but she was stuck. And I was like, is that going to be me? Because I was like 21 and right out of school. I'm like, okay, I need to try something different. And that's when I did other things in the restaurant business and management and all sorts of stuff. But it's funny.
Which led you to here.
Yes. And everything's happening exactly the way it's supposed to be happening. Sometimes it's hard to believe that in the moment.
Jackie, share where they can connect with you so that if they do have a question that pops up in their head, that they can reach out to you. And you do lives like all the time, like short snippets, short bursts of motivation or inspiration. So how do they find you?
I was going to say, Janelle looks like she has a question. Did you want to unmute her real quick? She just popped that in there.
Yeah.
And then I'll answer that question.
Awesome.
Oh, started to type. No, so my question is, did you, or maybe do you, struggle, really getting into coaching when you feel like there's still so much work you can do on yourself?
That's a great question. And so there's two points to this, two parts of this. So when I first came into the coaching realm, it was, I real quick, 30 years of the restaurant business, leadership management, coaching, mentoring, yada, yada. And then this coaching company, HCI, kind of crossed my path, right? And I saw it and I was like, ooh, that's something that like, I'm going to bet on me. I'm going to see, maybe let's see. And it just took off from there. But I will tell you the first 6 to 8 months, I didn't make a dime doing it because I had to work on me first. And I had to heal a lot of stuff within me to get over, like, let's say some money stories or whatever. But it doesn't have to be this, like, don't do anything until you heal and you're perfect, because that's a challenge. That's a challenge we all have, of thinking we need to be perfect before we can jump in and do anything. So it goes along the journey. You only have to be one step ahead of somebody, one aha, one whatever, to coach somebody. And I know that sounds really like, really just one, but really that's it. Like, you only have to be one ahead of somebody to help them. So if you have whatever your story is, Janelle, you have a ton of stuff that I know you can take people to the next level with without even knowing you, that you're ahead of them in that capacity because you've overcome and you've healed and so for example, with me, one of them was the relationship to food. And the voices and the chatter and the overwhelmingness of like obsession and there was an eating disorder linked with that and stuff like that. And that's a big one. But I had that when I started coaching. I was like, I can't coach anybody. I got this problem. I got this issue. But yet I promoted 300 managers, and I could help people like move through any job functioning and everything. I can help like develop people professionally. But I was like, my company taught me how to be a health coach first. I'm like, shoot, I'm unhealthy. I'm overweight. I have an eating disorder. Like I can tell you every reason why I couldn't. But then there was all these reasons I could. So we don't have to be perfect to step into a coaching role. And it's better to not be perfect, because when you're human, you're more relatable. Does that make sense?
Yes, that is amazing. Yes.
I love that.
Good.
Yeah, and Jackie, like you shared a little bit about our history and stuff, and Janelle, that was one of the big things for me. I was like, well, I can't coach. Like, I'm not qualified. I'm not this, I'm not that. And it was all these stories I told myself in my head. And then I worked through those with my own coaches. You know, I have a business coach, I have a finance coach, I've got a health coach. And as I started looking at, why did I hire this person? How many business coaches did I meet with till I found who I felt was the right fit? What was it about her? And she wasn't perfect. She's not running a multi-gazillion dollar business who's then helping me build mine. She's just a few steps ahead of me, and has that wisdom to look back and help me with it. And same with the fitness coach. Why do I relate to my fitness coach? Because she's got some of the same struggles that I struggle with. She's not a skinny mini, or she's not some big buff muscular dude that I'm like, you don't get me. Like, my fitness coach gets me. And she's not perfect. But yeah, it's all about the relatability. So if coaching is something that you're interested in, people will relate to you and you'll be able to help people.
You don't need certifications to be a coach. You don't need all that stuff. But what it does help you do is it helps give you structure. It helps gives you ideas. It helps gives you confidence. So some of that, like, that's what HCI did for me. But now, like Chantel, I have my own one-on-one coach. I have a group coach program I'm in. I have a one-on-one coach. We're not telling you to run out and hire a bunch of coaches. Number one step is opening up and being vulnerable about your story. That'll help you be a phenomenal coach. Phenomenal person in general, but just like a phenomenal coach that people can connect with. But to answer the question previous, Chantel was saying like how to reach me. You can find me there's Jackie Cote Coaching website. Everything's Jackie Cote Coaching. My Facebook page is Jackie Cote, like same name in the post, and then my business page is Jackie Cote Coaching. So pretty easy. But my personal page is me. I am my brand. I am my business. I do a lot on my personal page, and I'll do some on my business, but mainly my personal page. I am building a group of that feel free in love, life, and career. Like, I'm reopening that group. But if you're friends with me on Facebook, you're going to find out what I'm all about, and you're also going to get some free coaching because I do it like I'm very open book on there. So, okay, I'm done talking.
I love it. I could go all night. Thank you guys. All right. That was so fun to re-listen to. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed it. Next week will be another replay, and then we will start getting back into the swing of things. We just wanted to give ourselves a nice long break. Neither of us have ever really done that in our business. And so this was really important and felt very aligned to us. So enjoy the replays, and we will see you soon. Enjoy the journey. Thank you for listening to the Create a Life You Love podcast. We would love to hear from you about your biggest takeaways. Share them with us on Facebook or Instagram at Create a Life You Love Coaching. If you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. If you're ready to build aligned and sustainable momentum without overwhelm and burnout, we invite you to apply for the Create a Life You Love membership on our website, createalifeyoulovecoaching.com/membership. That's it for now. Enjoy the journey.